Hello and welcome, this is Joe Hendry here, and today I'm going to be talking about what I learned from wrestling the Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. Alright folks, before I get into today's video, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe, and also comment below and let me know what topics you want me to discuss. I'm making these for you, so let me know what you want to hear about next. I'm happy to discuss everything in my career, so let me know. But let's get to the topic of today, which is what it was like to wrestle Kurt Angle. What did I learn? To kind of set this up, I think you need to understand how much my career changed by wrestling Kurt Angle. I really talk about it in terms of before Kurt and after Kurt. You know, before I wrestled Kurt, I was very much known as, just a character wrestler. And I got to a situation where here, I was only 3 years in. I started training in 2013, had my debut in a match in October 2013. So by October 2016, I was wrestling Kurt Angle in the main event of a pay-per-view with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette commentating. It does not get any bigger than that, and it was a lot of pressure, and I learned so much from it, which we're going to get into. So I guess the first thing to talk about is how that match actually came to be. Like I say, before that I was very much known as a character wrestler. This was the first time that I really needed to deliver in-ring on a main event level, and it was a lot of pressure. But so much went into this match actually happening, and it started in 2015 on Twitter when a fan asked me, "Joe, what's your dream match?" Now, there's a few answers for this. If it's, for example, a program when you get to have a feud that goes over several TV episodes culminating in a pay-per-view, the answer was The Rock. That's the reason I got into the business. But for a dream match, a one-off dream match, the true answer is the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. That was the one dream match that I wanted. And you know what? I put it out there into the universe. I just tagged real Kurt Angle and didn't think anything else of it. I even got made fun of by a few colleagues who tweeted as well and said, "Oh, I think it'll take a lot more than that to get a match with Kurt Angle," but actually just goes to show you never know what can happen. This actually kicked it off. So I didn't think anything of it, but then I checked my DMs and lo and behold, I get a message from the man himself, Kurt Angle. And he says to me, he says, "Listen, I know who you are and I know you're working hard, but you're not ready yet." And that's the thing I really appreciate about Kurt from the whole time that I've known him, is he's very honest. He wants to give advice, he wants to help talent, but he's not afraid to tell you the truth. And the truth was, I wasn't ready for an opportunity like that. But what he did say is he said, "I know you've been working hard. If you continue to work hard and get better, then who knows? If the timing's right, maybe the match might happen." Now, I went away from that delighted. I thanked him. I was like, "Thank you, sir. This means a lot. I'll work hard to make this happen." And I knew that it would. I don't know why, I just knew. But it's one of these things that seemed like a 1% chance. He was signed to Impact. I was on the Indies at the time. It didn't seem like it was possible for this to happen. But fast forward a year and around comes What Culture? What Culture Pro Wrestling, now known as Defiant. That was a huge explosion in British wrestling, and they featured me heavily. So I started to think, maybe now might be the time to reach out to Kurt. And I found out that What Culture had actually tried to book him for a match, and for whatever reason it had fallen through. So this is one of the boldest things I've done as someone new in the business, but I decided, you know what? If you don't ask, you don't get. So I reach out to Kurt and I say, "Listen, I might have a financier that could maybe, pay for this match to happen. Would you still be interested in it? I've been working hard." And he says, "Tell you what, this is what I need," and mentioned a figure, mentioned some travel stuff, totally reasonable requests. And I says, "All right, I'll pass that information on." So here's where I was a little bold. And this is probably the boldest thing I've ever done in my wrestling career, but it paid off massive. So I go to What Culture and I say, "Listen, is it true you tried to book Kurt Angle?" And they're like, yeah, it fell through, for whatever reason that was, I don't know. But I said, "Listen, would you do a deal where, let's say I could get Kurt Angle, but the deal is, if I bring him in, I have to wrestle him. What do you think? Would you do that if I could bring him in?" They're like, "Well, yeah, if you think you can do that, be happy to shake hands on that." And that's exactly what happened. We shook hands on that. So I went back to Kurt. I said, "I think this might happen." And agents started discussing it back and forth. And it very quickly went from being something that was like a 1% chance to it was looking very likely indeed. And it got to the point where the match was actually announced, and I was absolutely delighted. But here's the thing. I was one of the lesser experienced wrestlers at the time. There were so many veterans in the locker room who, in an in-ring sense, certainly deserved the opportunity more than me, but the kind of promotion that What Culture was, because I was doing so much with my entrances and hosting videos on the channel, I kind of was able to, you know, bring my game up in those areas. And but there was a lot of pressure on me, and there was probably a lot of locker room resentment, which I can understand is fair. But there was a lot of pressure on my shoulders. I actually had a few poor performances in the run up to it, so much so that there was even talk of me not getting the match because I just wasn't delivering in the way that I needed to. And that's why I think this match was a real turning point in my career, because I was seen as, you know, just a character wrestler, and this is, I think, the first really good main event match that I've had. And it's actually, you can watch it for free on What Culture's channel, obviously after this video. But what I do want to tell you is about what I learned from wrestling Kurt. So the first thing that I want to talk about is how top talents approach the business. I've worked with, you know, people right from their first match as trainees all the way up to WrestleMania main eventers. You know, I've been very fortunate, and I've got to work with some of the best talent in the world. And what I will tell you is this: people at the very top of the tree tend to be more giving towards younger talents. So for example, when I was working a Drew McIntyre, or when I was working with Kurt Angle, it's always about how can we help you? How can we help elevate you? Because people at the top understand that if they elevate other people, then they've got more people to work with, and it's giving something back to the business. Whereas I find sometimes people who I've had most difficulty with, like, not going to name names, but I had a match that was supposed to be a big match. We'd been in a feud, we'd built it up, and it turned out to be just like a kind of 2-minute stupid match that was terrible. Because I remember going at this person and saying, you know, can we maybe do this, maybe do that? And the person said, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to call the whole thing. It's just 2 minutes long, and then just hit your move, it's done. Whereas Kurt was the opposite. Kurt was the best. Kurt is, in my experience, one of the most giving wrestlers there is. And you can see that from the match. If you watch the match, I kicked out of a top rope angle slam. You know, that's a big deal, because these guys, these top talents, are all about protecting their finishers, but Kurt wanted to go above and beyond to make sure that I came out of this match as a star. And, you know, I'm always thankful to him for doing that. So really, one of the main things is I learned about how top talents approach the business, and they tend to be much more secure in their position and who they are, and much more giving to younger talent. And that's one thing I will say about Kurt, is he was all about just helping elevate me to the next level. Another thing I do want to talk about is, for example, how top talents like that approach dealing with younger talents, newer talents, less experienced talents. And I'll give you an example. There's a point in the match where I make a pretty big mistake, and I've been in situations where this was high pressure. I've been in situations where I've made mistakes before and made to feel terrible about it. You know, and look, we've all had this in matches where things have gone wrong, maybe gets a little heated, and we really shouldn't do that. And Kurt was the true professional about it, because he was like, hey, as long as you were safe, doesn't matter. That's all I care about. I don't care if my stuff looks terrible. As long as you come out of it safe, that's all I care about. So I actually made a mistake right in the middle of the match. I wasn't where I was supposed to be, and Kurt was so strong that with one arm, he just made me go where I was supposed to be, landed perfectly, and there was absolutely no problem at all. And that really taught me a lot about how to deal with younger talents and when something goes wrong. You know, there's just no point in getting annoyed at people because they're trying their best, just like I was trying my best. Kurt knows that, and by keeping his cool, it kept me calm, and it was absolutely no issue whatsoever. Whereas when people lose their temper in the ring, that's when things can start to go wrong. So really, I'm trying to explain that these top talents tend to approach the business in a different way. Another thing that Kurt taught me was the importance of submission holds. At the time, I wasn't using any submissions, but Kurt explained to me that by having a submission hold, there's lots of ways to get in and out of it. It can provide a lot of drama, and if you really think about it, it's a way that you can get drama from the crowd without having to put yourself at risk. You know, if me and Kurt are trading holds and getting in and out of the ankle lock, there's no huge bumps there, but there's a lot of drama. The crowd are anticipating the ankle lock. And really, that's what wrestling's all about. It's about getting as much as you can out of what you're doing. So Kurt said to me, listen, if we're going to do this match and we're going to do it right, you need a submission hold as well. And I remember going, I don't really have one. And he was like, well, you better pick one. I remember kind of sitting there a little bit bashful, and he goes, I won't do the accent because I can't, but he goes, you want to use the ankle lock, don't you? And I was like, yes. And so that's how it happened. Kurt Angle gave me the permission to use the ankle lock right there. And in the match, we had lots of sequences where I'm getting in and out of the hold. He's getting me in it. I'm getting him in it. And it really built to the drama of the match. Again, it's great for someone as well. It's not, you don't have to take all these huge bumps. You can get that drama out of just getting in and out the hold. So that really taught me about the importance of submission holds. Something I was impressed with was Kurt is still a physical specimen, and I didn't quite realize that. But it's like when I picked him up for the fallaway slam, it was just dense, you know, like he was just solid muscle, and I was like, whoa. I kind of thought that me and him would be similar weights, but when I picked him up, I was like, wow. You pick someone up and you realize this is someone who's been training their entire life. So he was very, very strong. And another thing was the intensity. People call Kurt Angle intense, and it's one of those things that, well, we think we know what intensity means, but I didn't know until I wrestled Kurt Angle what intensity meant. And that is why it was such a life-changing experience for me. There's something Steve Austin says about when you're in that ring, you have to absolutely believe every single thing that you're doing. And that's what intensity means, I think, after having that match with Kurt. So for example, when he's punching me, I'm not getting injured, but I feel like I'm in a real fight. It doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't make any sense. But to me, that's the magic of pro wrestling. When I was wrestling Kurt, I was getting lost in it. I almost had to remind myself, you know, of the situation that I was in, because it just felt so real. And at the end of the day, isn't that what wrestling's all about? Getting caught up in the moment and being that intense. It allows the audience to suspend that disbelief and really get into what they're doing. And that's kind of one of the main things that I took away from the match. It was an unbelievable experience. I was so grateful to have that experience. And then not only that, after the match, Kurt Angle taught me a lot about, you know, how to conduct myself during contract negotiations. What's a good deal? What's not a good deal? Should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? And I really believe that Kurt's coaching in that area has led me to where I am in my career right now. So you're looking at someone that could not be more thankful to the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will go into more detail on a separate video about how I nearly lost the match and what happened, but that's a different video for a different day. If you've enjoyed this, again, please like and subscribe, and also down in the comments, let us know what you want me to talk about. We're really keen to do these videos for you and give out as much content and value as we can. So thank you so much for watching this, and I shall see you next time.